All right, so I think we should start. And till that time, if any more people are going to join, they will be able to join also.
Maybe you can. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, in one or two, a couple of minutes you can start, huh?
Okay, so when, sir? I mean, it's already 3:05.
3-5.
We have 33 participants right now, and we'll do some introduction anyways in the beginning. So,
Okay, then you start. If you're doing introduction in that part, then you can start, huh?
yes, sir, the proper demonstration will start like after 5, 7, 10 minutes only,
Oh,
once I've completed the slides.
okay.
Okay? Yeah. Okay, so first of all, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashita, and I'm part of the customer onboarding team from Turnitin. And today we are here for the user training for Authenticate, the product that you're currently working. And we'll understand today that as a user to this platform, what would be your workflow, how you need to start setting up your account, how you can upload the papers, and how you can check the reports. So, quick tips for today. I'll be recording today's session, and after the session is over, I'll be sharing this recording with you. And you can use this particular recording in future for any kind of doubts or queries that you may have. If you have any questions in between, please use the chat box below. Add all your questions there, and at the end of the session, we will be taking up all your questions. And even after the session is over, you have any queries, you can send an email to southasia-onboarding at turnitin.com, and one of our team members will be able to help you. So, what is Turnitin Authenticate? Turnitin Authenticate is one of the product of Turnitin, which is primarily which was launched in 2004 and was primarily designed for researchers and PhD students and any of the publishers. This particular product helps the researchers and publishers identify plagiarism and publish their papers with confidence while also understanding the importance of original work. Now, what is the difference between text similarity and plagiarism? Text similarity is when the ideas or words of another are present in one's work. So, in simple terms, if you're uploading any of your papers and you're finding any text getting matched from any other source, any other paper, that is simply a text similarity or a text match. However, plagiarism is when the ideas or words of another are present in one's work without proper acknowledgement, credit, or attribution. So plagiarism occurs when there is a proper similarities. There are similar text in the paper and the similarity matches in the paper, but these texts are not properly acknowledged or a proper credit to the source is missing in the paper. That leads to plagiarism. So basically, any text which lacks any kind of acknowledgement or credibility, that leads to plagiarism. So here you would need to understand that the report that you will be getting will be a text similarity report, which will highlight to you all the similarity matches, all the similar text, and all the matching content with their relevant sources. In order to find out plagiarism, it's important that you analyze these similarities and then find out if there's any kind of plagiarism in the paper or not. Now, how would you interpret these similarity matches? So the report that you will be getting from Turnitin, that will be the report which is also known as similarity detection report. In that report, you will be finding all the text which is found to be similar, highlighted in different colors and different numbers with their relevant sources. That will show to you how much of the text is getting matched from which all sources. Now, there is a specific section in the report called match groups that will highlight the entire similarity matches into four color coded groups. These colors will be green, yellow, orange, and red. Any text in the paper that you will be finding highlighted in green color. These will be the texts that have a proper quotation marks and a proper citations added. That means they are well cited and well quoted text. So any text that was copied from a different source but have been properly acknowledged, that is the text which is well cited and quoted, highlighted in green color. So these are the texts that doesn't need much of your attention. You do not have to do any kind of changes over here. Even if this is known to be a similarity text, it is not considered to be plagiarized because it has been well acknowledged. The second kind of group is the yellow color text. There you will observe that a proper quotation marks are added. Proper quotations have been added, but citation is missing. These are the text that is only missing a citation. That means through quotation marks, the author is trying to showcase that this text is not written by him. So even if this text shows similarity, this is also not considered to be plagiarized because only one component is missing, which can be improvised later on. So here is a scope of improvement. In the similar manner, any text highlighted in orange color, these will be the text that has a proper citations added, but quotation marks are missing. There also you have an opportunity to improvise, and you are aware that since the citation is added, that means the acknowledgement is not missing completely. You can still add quotation marks if needed. So this is again not considered to be plagiarism. Now, any text highlighted in red color like you see over here, these are the text that doesn't have any citations or quotations added. That means these are the text that was taken from a particular source but have not been acknowledged. These red text would be the actual text which has high potential of plagiarism. These texts should be properly investigated, properly checked, and then should be considered as plagiarism. So whichever plagiarism that you will be finding from these red text itself. So here you have an opportunity to analyze the paper, check which particular text is considered to be plagiarism, if there is any plagiarism in the paper or not. And accordingly, you can rework upon your paper. Now, here are two papers in front of you. The first paper has 5% similarity score. Second paper has 30% similarity score. The first paper that you see is although a 5% similarity, but a lot of people, they understand that if any paper has less similarity, that means it has less plagiarism. If any paper has higher similarity, that means it has high plagiarism. But that is not the case, and that is why we are giving you this particular example. In the first paper, similarity score is very less, which is 5%. But if you see the highlighted text over here, that is the complete text which has been copy pasted without any acknowledgement, any reference, quotation, citation, anything. So even if the similarity score is less, there is 100% plagiarism present over here. Now, if we talk about the second paper, which is 30% similarity. Here you will see that the similarity score is higher than the first, but if you check each of the highlighted text over here, you will be able to find out why these texts have been highlighted. The first text is highlighted in red color because it is an essay topic which is common to every student who have written the paper. So it's an essay question. So this particular topic doesn't need to be added any quotation, citation, any reference over here, but it will still be considered as a similarity. But this is not considered to be plagiarism because it does not require any acknowledgement. In the second example, there is a citation added over here. That means a quotations, if required, can be added. Otherwise, citation or acknowledgement is already added over here. Again, this is not plagiarism. Then there are certain more sentences that have been highlighted in red color. If you analyze these texts, you will see that this is a common fact about the topic. The topic of the essay is about apples, and apples are a good source of nutrition is a very common statement and a fact about the topic. So definitely it is not considered to be plagiarized and it has to be added over here. Then there is a green text over here, which is properly quoted and cited. Again, it's not plagiarism. Then there are certain more sentences that cannot be paraphrased and has to be written as it is. Again, they are not plagiarism. And then there's a reference list, which is obviously copied from a particular source. And that is why it is highlighted in yellow color. So this all constitutes to 30% similarity, but there is 0% plagiarism that you can find here. So it's very important that whenever you start checking any of your paper, you should be very clear, are you looking for similarity scores or you are looking for plagiarism cases in your paper? Plagiarism cases, if you're finding, you need to analyze the similarity index report and then find out if there's any kind of plagiarism that is there in the paper or not. Then comes the AI detection score. The AI detection capabilities of Turnitin will help you analyze how much of your work has been generated by artificial intelligence. A proper report will be provided with a percentage. So you can check that particular percentage and report in conjunction with your task expectations and according to your academic integrity policies of your institution, so that you can accordingly rework upon your paper and see if the AI content is acceptable to your institution or not. All right. So this was the introduction about the platform. Now I'll log in one of my demo account of Authenticate and I'll show to you how step by step you need to work on this particular platform. So this is the homepage of Authenticate. This is the sign-in page. Now you will be receiving a proper email from Turnitin having the link to join, which will be personalized to your institution. The link that you can see on my screen, that is my demo link meant for only my use purpose. But for you and for your entire institution, a separate link is created. So only who have been added as a user to Authenticate by your administrator will be getting that access from your institution account of Authenticate. Okay. So if you do not have access, please consult with your administrator and ask them if you have been added there, or they can you can provide your details and they can add you over there. So here you need to add the username and password that you have created for yourself, and then you can sign in. You can also use these hyperlinks in case if you have forgotten your username and password for that matter. So this is the homepage. This is the homepage of Authenticate. Here you can see my name added. That means this is my individual account to work on. So anytime any user is added to your institution Authenticate account, they will be having their own individual account to work on. This is the homepage, as I said, and these are the menu items which only your administrators can see. So if you are not an administrator, you won't be able to see these menus. But if you have been added as a co-admin or any admin kind of access, then you will also be able to see these menu items, and you can connect with your main administrator to understand how you all have to work together. Here in the page, right hand side top, you have the help center. Anytime you have any questions related to Authenticate, you can always go to this guide section. It will take you to the Authenticate guides page, and you can always go to this admin side and this users kind of folder, where you can always see how to manage files and folders, how to check the reports, basic account issues, or any questions related to AI. So whatever we will be discussing today in the demo is all mentioned in this particular draft. Now, whenever you will open this page and you need to start working on Authenticate, you need to click on this launch button over here. So when you click on this launch button, you will be redirected to a separate page, which will show to you a My Files page. That means these are all your files which will be listed over here that you will be uploading. Now, in order to upload any files in Papers, either you can directly upload it from this upload button, or rather the preferred way out is that you should be adding a folder first and then add a folder paper. Adding a folder will help you manage your files in a proper manner. So just simply click on this add folder, add a name to this folder, just add any name, your topic or batch number or anything that you want to add over here. These would be the files that you will be able to see, folders that you will be able to see. You can always open any particular folder over here. And here you can click on the upload button and start uploading your papers. Now, in order to upload the papers, it's very important that you should be aware of the file requirements. So the basic file requirements about the size, file type, everything is written over here. Supported file types are also written. So your files should be of this particular sort. Now, there are certain more requirements related to AI writing that you should know. For example, files must be having at least 300 words and should not exceed 30,000 words. That means your file text, number of text should be, or the words should be between 300 to 30,000 only. It should not be lesser or greater than these numbers. Otherwise, the AI report won't be detected. Okay. So do check these file requirements, and then you can simply browse your file from your computer, add the author's first name, last name if required. Now, in case if you see this particular option coming, so this option will be coming based on what your administrator have activated the setting for you. If they have activated the setting for you to index your papers, this option will be coming to you. Indexing in Turnitin means that you want to save this paper into Turnitin's repository for future comparison, so that in future, if any of the paper is uploaded within your institution, your paper will be used to cross-check the text, and if any text is getting matched, it will be added in the report. So this is called indexing. So in case if you see this particular option, you will get a choice whether you want to index this paper that you are uploading or you don't want to index the paper. If you're indexing this paper will be used for comparison in future. If you're not, then it won't be used for any kind of comparison. But again, it depends on what setting is activated for your institution. So if you do not see it, then you can ignore this particular thing. And then simply submit it. Whenever you submit any paper, the paper will be uploaded immediately and the report will also be generated. Like you see the reports being generated over here. So in this way, you can upload multiple files either together, or you can upload one by one or in a zip file. Now over here, there's a arrow button which will show to you that the upload is of two types. Whether it's first is the repository comparison, that means you're uploading your paper, it will be compared from Turnitin's repository. This particular upload option is a default upload option. So this is the same thing that I just now showed to you. You are uploading your paper and it will be checked through Turnitin's repository. Second is doc-to-doc comparison. Basically, this is a upload type where you are checking your own paper with any other paper of your choice. So here you can upload the main file that is for which you need to create a report. And here you can upload comparison files. So from your own choice, you can upload up to 5 files over here. So these files will be used for comparing your main file, and the report will be generated based on that. In this scenario, Turnitin's repository or databases will not be used for comparison. Okay. So here are file requirements for doc-to-doc comparison. So you must also check this before you upload any paper. And then you can upload any of the paper doc-to-doc. So over here, you can upload your papers and the report will be generated immediately. These report can be the name of the author or the title can be edited. It can be moved to any other folder also if required, or you can completely delete them, or you can copy the paper ID as well. The folders that you have created, those folders can also be edited. Their names can be edited. You can also share these folders with your group members. So in case if your administrator have added you into a particular group and you have, let's say, more members into that group, you have an option to share your any particular folder or multiple folders with your group members. So you can simply click on share, add the name of the your group member or the group name if you have. So let's say if I want to share it with another group name called demo group, I can click on that group and invite. So whoever will be part of that particular group, everyone will get access to this particular folder and they will be able to see what all files I have uploaded into this particular folder. Okay. When they will open, or even if somebody else have shared their folders with each other, with you, you can see that folder in this particular section called shared with me. Here you will be able to see that this folder has been shared by one of my team member, which is called, whose name is David. I can open this folder and I can see that one paper has been uploaded by him and the similarity report is this. I can open the report, I can check the report, I can download the report as well. And I can also upload my own paper from my end into the same folder. So this is the benefit of sharing folders into your group. If your institution doesn't have a group, then please ignore all of this. In case if they add you into a group, then you may use this particular option for your institution. The trash button will be having all the trash items, all the deleted files. You can always delete them permanently or you can restore them back to their original place. Then comes the settings. Here there are certain default similarity report settings. So when we say similarity report settings, it means that these are the settings that will be activated for all the reports that will be generated within this account. So first is the compare submissions. That means the databases of Turnitin, which will be used for comparison. So there are Crossref content, Crossref posted content, internet pages, previously submitted works, publications, and preprint sources. All of these databases are by default activated for your institution, but anytime if you want to deactivate any of the database, it will be deactivated for all the reports within this particular account. Okay. But we always suggest you not to deactivate anything, but in case if it is required, you can do that. Then comes exclude from similarity report. So you can activate certain exclusions over here. For example, abstract exclusion, small matches. Here you can add number of word limit over here. Methods and materials, bibliography, quotes, and citations. These are certain default exclusions that you can activate. Either one or few of them you can activate, or all of them you can activate. Or if you don't want to activate anything, you can keep it deactivated itself. These exclusions will be activated for all the reports that will be generated within your account. And then comes customization sections. This basically means that if your administrator have added any custom sections over here, basically custom sections have few keywords and phrases that entire section can be excluded from your papers. For example, uh, as an example purpose, there are exclusion called Gotham exclusion. So the name can be different, but there is exclusion over here. So the topics that the administrator have added into this is overview section and abstract section. So they have added the keywords and phrases that starts for that abstract and overview. So if I activate this particular custom section, if that particular keywords and phrases are found to be in my paper, that entire overview section and abstract section will be excluded from my paper. Okay. So here your admins will be adding that. You simply have to select which custom sections you want to exclude from your paper. Okay, so once that is done, you can simply save it. These can be changed at any point of time. I will now open one of the report and I'll show to you how these reports are being analyzed. So you simply have to open the report by clicking on the report topic or the percentage. So this is the report for Authenticate. You can see the name of the author as well, the topic of the author. There are four sections over here that you will be using in order to analyze this particular paper. Now, this particular report that you see has four sections, as I said. You should always be starting from checking flags in this paper. Flags basically will show to you any kind of suspicious text manipulations that are found in this particular paper. And if you see any numbers over here, that means these are the two flagged, or you can say manipulation that we have found in this paper. Two means there are two kind of flags that have been reported. One means only one flag is reported, and if you do not see any numbers, that means there is no flag in this paper. Now, in this paper, as you check this particular paper, from your own eyes, there will be these kind of manipulations cannot be found. So when you see any flag being reported, when you click on that flag, the first flag is hidden text. Now, here in hidden text, if you see, red boxes have been appearing. That means these are certain additional characters or overlapping characters that have been added in the paper, and some additional lines also have been added in the paper, but have been hidden behind the background. That means over here, the author has purposely tried to add these additional characters and lines and painted that with white color so that it is merged with the background and it cannot be seen from your eyes. These are called hidden text. Now, these can be either done intentionally by the author, or it is also done unintentionally if you are copying something from unverified internet page or any unverified source. there also you can find these hidden text, which is automatically copied to your own paper also. Okay. So always check these text over here, hidden text. It can bring up a wrong impression in front of the publishers as well. Second is replaced characters. Replaced characters will show to you any similar looking characters which have been swapped from another kind of alphabet or another kind of language. Like, for example, the O's that has been highlighted over here, these are actually not English alphabet O. It's a Greek character that looks exactly similar to an O. So these kind of similar characters can be easily be found and are replaced uh, purposely or intentionally as well. Or as I said, unintentionally if you're copying it from an unverified source, and can be seen in the flag section. So if you see any flags in the paper, it's always recommended that you analyze it, check it. If required, you can change it and remove them. After the flags have been seen, you can go to the similarity index report. It will show to you an overall similarity report of your paper. Overall similarity report means that how much of the text in this paper is found matched from other sources. Okay, so in my paper, 57% of my text is found similar from other sources. And when I go to the sources tab, I can easily see which are all these sources and which are all these texts that are being matched. And it is constituting to 57%. Now, as I said in the beginning, this is a similarity text. That means any text which is matching from other source. You can see all the sources over here. You can also click on this arrow button and read the entire source from where it has been taken. You can go to that source link also. You can read the entire text, or you can click on view full source text and view the entire text in which context this has been written. If you want, you can exclude this source as well if during analysis you want to exclude it. Now, here you can see very clearly it's well color coded, number coded. You can see the numbers also. So you can easily found the matching text with matching source from here and find out which text is matching from where. Now, when you click on this match group section, it will show you the entire similarity text into 4 color coded groups. As I told you in the beginning in my slide, that these color coded groups will help you identify plagiarism in a very quick manner, and also you will be able to find what changes you have to do in your paper. So any text highlighted in red color, like you see in my paper, most of my text is in red color. This will show you that these are the texts that has been copied from other sources but have not been cited and quoted. So this constitute to entire 57% because entire 57% of my similarity text is found to be plagiarized. Okay. But it's always recommended that whenever you find any text in red color, always cross check them. There could be some common facts, some kind of topic, some kind of statements that doesn't require any citation quotation and is not considered to be plagiarized. For example, if I talk about this particular paragraph, although I have taken this paragraph from this particular source, but the way I have presented in my paper doesn't require any citation or acknowledgement. And it doesn't require to have any kind of source over here. So that is the reason, according to me and my analysis, this particular text is not considered to be plagiarized. So I can simply click on this text, a black box will appear, and I will exclude this text manually. Whenever I'm excluding any text manually, my percentage automatically drops down. The similarity score percentage also, and my not cited and quoted percentage as well. So now, after analyzing my paper, I have found this entire 47% of my text is actual plagiarism from my paper. So, this is how you can also analyze. If you want to know the exact plagiarism percentage, you can also use these exclusions and then find out that this is the plagiarized text, but my overall percentage of similarity is this one. Apart from that, the text highlighted in orange and yellow will help you understand wherever quotations and citations has to be added. And any text highlighted in green will simply show to you that they have been properly cited and quoted, but they are also found to be similar. So this is how you can check the report. You can also go to the filters tab on the top and use any kind of exclusion filters over here and then apply these filters. This will also change the percentage if you're using any kind of these filters. You can also go to these filters and use this exclude small matches. Always check from your institution what is the threshold word limit threshold that is allowed in your institution. Like just to give an example, if I'm adding 25 over here and I apply the filters, automatically my percentage will be changed. So check within your institution what are these filters that are allowed. Then you can go to the AI writing detection part. The AI writing detection of Turnitin will help you understand how much of the text in this paper has been written with the help of AI. So uh, it has been breakdown with two submission types. Either they are completely AI generated or they are AI paraphrased. Okay, so if it is highlighted in this blue cyan color, that means they have been completely taken from an AI tool or copied from an AI tool or have been humanized from an AI tool. And any text highlighted in purple color will show to you that these have been generated by AI tool but also have been paraphrased from an AI tool. So the percentage that you will see will help you understand what is the scores that is allowed in your institution, whether this is uh, acceptable or not, and how you can lower it down. Now, one thing to note over here, if you find any percentage or score which is lesser than 20%, it will only show to you an asterisk sign. It won't show you a percentage sign, proper numbers or percentage. It will only show you an asterisk sign because any text which is found to be AI less than 20%, will be will basically show to you a high percentage of false positive. So any text lower than 20% has high chances of false positives, and that is why we do not show any percentage over here, and it is only an asterisk sign that is shown. You can always check these FAQs, resources and guides section for any more information about it. Now there's a download button over here. You can download the similarity report. You can print the similarity report. You can download the originally submitted file, and also you can download the AI writing report. Here is the submission details. You can always check the submission details over here. And here are the help articles that you can always check in order to understand more about the platform and the report. So this is how you're going to check the report. This is how you're going to analyze the report. And it's always good to start from flags and then similarity report and then the AI writing report. So this is how Authenticate needs to worked upon. It's very easy, very user friendly. So I'm sure everybody knows how to upload the papers now. We'll go back to our slide deck over here. We'll discuss 1 or 2 slides more, and then we can take up your questions if you have any. These are the guides page. I've already told you from where you can access that. The direct link is guides.turnitin.com. You can always check there. You can also contact your institution's administrator in case of any queries, in case of any doubts, so that they can reach out to us with your questions and we can help you out further in that. And if you want more information about this information about this platform, you can always connect to South Asia-onboarding at turnitin.com and one of our team members will be able to help you. Well, this marks the end of our session. And before I take up any questions from you, there's a small request from my end. You can always provide us a feedback about how this training went. Here is the QR code for that. You can scan this code from your camera and you can go to the Google Forms and provide your feedback there, how this training was, whether you learned something from this training or you would like to improvise something. You can choose my name here and provide your training feedback. It will be extremely helpful for us. So please go ahead, provide your feedback on this link. And till that time, if somebody wants to raise any questions, you can.
Miss Ashita, this is Professor Vavi Reddy speaking.
Yes,
You're
sir,
able to hear?
Yes, sir.
It was a nice presentation and explaining in detail.
Thank you, sir.
I have one question. What are the permissible filters?
Sorry?
Permissible filters in the settings.
Sir, it depends what policy that you are following. So it can be code, citations, bibliography, citations, and word limit one, small sources also. So it depends what policy your institution is following. Over there, the filters which is allowed will be mentioned.
For the sake of uniformity at the institutional level, if filters are set by the administration, that will be better, no? Administrator.
Sir, right now we do not have that option where the administrator use the filter because it depends of your individual analysis also that you should be able to see without filter and after filter also. So that is the reason we give that options to the user level and not admin
No,
level.
I can understand, but for example, how many words can be excluded if you Goa University sets a filter, for example, 12 words or 10 words. Across the university, the same filter can be applied.
So I understand, but that is not there in the admin level.
No, at the university level, institutional level.
Yes, sir. Institutional level, the admin handles the institutional level settings. And there is no such option that we have in the institutional level that can be set as default. So every user has to change the setting and the filters as per from their own account.
If each user is changing or setting, the reports will vary, no?
So even if the report is varied, the download will show which filter you have used. So anyone who's accessing the report will know that you have not used 10 word limit, you have used 8 word limit. So that is the reason. Everything is written in the report. What filters you are using or you are not using, everything is written over there.
I know. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I wanted to know whether there is a limit to the number of documents one can upload.
Sir, that is something that your administrator can tell you because they have the subscription details, what subscription you have purchased for the institution.
Hi, Ashita, this is Anthony. I had a question about the flagging of the AI generated content. Since you mentioned that
Hmm.
anything below 20% will
Hmm.
not be kind of it'll not be shown in terms of percentage, but it'll only be flagged for the simple reason that there are more chances of false positives. Now,
Hmm.
why is that the case? I mean, and how do we then take that ahead? So are we saying that 20% is permissible, or how does it go?
So generally 20% is permissible because below 20% is very less AI. Right. For example, if you have just changed one line from the entire paragraph or the entire section, that
Mhm.
doesn't count as AI, right? That could be a human written also, that could be AI written also. So it's not easy for the software to detect that this is an AI
Right.
because softwares detect AI based on the patterns. Right. So
Yes.
if only one line is there, that means it is hardly 5% or 2% of AI. That is not even counted as important. So that is why we have taken a limit as 20 because anything lesser than 20 is actually very less AI which is being calculated in that particular paper. And we generally do not show the percentage because uh, we might give you a wrong percentage. It could be 5, but we might give you 7 percentage also. It might be 10, but it can be possible that the AI is showing you 12%. So it is not fair at our part. So that is the reason we have put a limit to 20% that after 20% we can provide you an accurate result, but below that we cannot provide you an accurate result.
But it is quite possible that above 20 also, if you extrapolate the same thing that you're saying, which is
Hmm.
for below 20%, can also give you false negatives.
Very less in that because that is how our detector is being trained to work and check the papers in a manner that it can provide you accurate result
Okay,
because
so
it
the
checks the entire patterns. When
right.
there is large text that has been taken from AI, then it checks the patterns properly and then it shows you the accurate result. So it has been trained in that manner, but in the smaller text, when the text is very low, it is very difficult for the detector is also to give you the right result.
Well, fine. Thank you so much.
When it comes to citations, in-text citations as well as footnotes are detected, or how does it work? It's specifically in text, or and then what about the references and all?
So initially, the similarity report will show you everything uh, as a part of the percentage because whether you have quoted that, you have cited that, you have referenced that, it is matching from somewhere, and that is what this report shows you that this text is matching from this source. But you can always use these filters and exclusions in order to remove those citations, references, quotations, or any additional things, and then find out the percentage after excluding all of that.
Okay, so there is a filter to remove title of the works and all.
No, sir, not the title. Because the title is different for everyone. So,
No, what happens is the title of the works get repeated and all, na? So that is
right.
shown as the similarity.
Yes, sir. But it won't show. You can still try to use the custom sections in that manner. Okay, so in the custom section, you can add the entire title, and if it is found in the papers, it will be removed.
Ashita, is this model trained to exclude the typical sentences found in research writings? For example, we have seen that softwares like this usually flag the typical sentences. For example, something is found statistically significant, for instance. These kind of sentences also are flagged as similarity text So is Turnitin trained to exclude these kind of sentences? Some cases table number so and so is also flagged as a similarity text.
So generally not these, small text is not trained to be shown as similarity. It is a chunk of text that is found to be similarity, which includes that significant text that you're talking about. So
Yeah,
it is
right.
actually trained to do that this particular text, this entire line, this paragraph is shown to be matching from somewhere. So that is, it shows that this is a similarity index. So that is how it is trained, not a particular word or particular two or three combination of words.
What I have noticed is it flags this kind of text, and which is a little surprising because any research finding would include these typical sentences, and that cannot be
Hmm.
considered as similarity.
So
These words are
that's
going to be similar. The sentences, it's a chunk of words only. When I sometimes, in fact, the software names like software names or even the names of the methods, techniques which are actually used, even those are
hmm.
flagged as similarity text, which is little worrisome because
So
you
that
cannot
is
correct it.
something that needs to be investigated further, sir, because without seeing the paper, we cannot say what exactly, because there has to be some reason why this has been shown as similarity. So there has to be investigated further. So what you can do is that these kind of issues, whenever you arrive, you can
Mhm.
always send it to our support team.
I
They will
can share
investigate.
that paper, and it was done through Turnitin itself, so I can share that paper with you and
So
with the
I'm
query.
not trained to investigate that actually. So
No, no,
you can
no.
send it
The,
to
the
the
problem that is
support team.
highlighted, I'm saying. You can tell me where
Yes.
to send it.
Sir, I have written an
Okay.
email ID over here. So you can always
Mhm.
send it over here. Write your details along with any screenshot or paper that you can refer, and add your institution name so that they can see the resolution from there.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, we can do that. Because I think the model should be trained to at least not map certain typically used research writing text as a similarity text, because across the individuals and institutions, it's going to remain the same.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Okay,
Hi, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, can you? Yeah.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I just wanted to know, it works across which languages? Does it work for Indian as well as foreign languages? Is my question.
Yes, it works for foreign languages as well. There are few
Okay.
languages for which it works. Not
Mm,
all. It does not cover all, but Spanish,
mm.
like it covers, and uh, there are few. There's a list actually. So if you want, I can send that. I don't know by
Okay.
heart right now, but there is a list in the guide section only, which I can share it to you, which will have all the details of which all languages it covers.
How about regional and local
Okay.
So regional and local languages are not covered. Only English is covered as of now. That is why we say that only limited languages have been covered right now. And that's it. I think Arabic is covered as far as I know. Hindi is not covered over here. English is covered, and rest other languages that is there.
Okay, one last question from my side. You made a very intriguing observation saying that it also detects if you have not cited argument or the main idea. How does Turnitin does that? Because if you want to look at the argument or the main idea, one has to analyze the whole text. And AI does it badly actually, although we are celebrating AI now. Unless and until you do a close reading of the text, it's not possible for anyone to understand the main idea. So how does Turnitin does that?
So actually, okay, so it's not Turnitin have created a separate model called AI detection model of Turnitin. Okay, that doesn't work in a manner like how we give these reports. These how Turnitin reports are, that we just find out that these exact lines are there from somewhere. It shows you the matching. It doesn't happen in AI. AI is created on large language models. it finds out if there's any kind of large language text that is there in this paper, and it checks through. So there are certain codings that are there. I can't explain to you in a proper manner, although right now, but there are certain codings that are behind this particular software that trains to identify if this pattern of text was actually written in the entire paper, and now this pattern of the text is written in a different manner, which is like a computer language. So I'm telling in a very vague kind, in a very simple kind of a way which you can understand, but there are certain coding behind that finds that this is a software language and this is not a human language, like how you have written the entire paper. So
Okay.
that is how it is being trained, tested rigorously by a proper separate team of AI that we have.
So that's largely about similarity, but my concern is how do you cope up with a text which copies the idea or the argument and passes as the argument by the concerned author? That's a major concern. If you look at similarities, we have number of softwares. It's not a big thing. But my concern is the intellectual property rights.
So see, first of all, it is a big thing for Turnitin. Why? Because our database is quite high. You will be finding lot of softwares, but that doesn't mean that they have that huge databases through which we cross check your papers. So one paper is checked through millions and billions of databases that we have, and we are checking that on a daily basis for your papers, for other papers as well. That is why the reports that comes out, it comes to be quite precise.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so any other question?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I think myself, Dr. Sandesh Desai, the university librarian. I think there are no questions. Are there any questions? Uh, okay, Ashita, we will
Yes, sir.
wind it off here. I would like to
All
thank
right, sir.
Ashita for providing us the insight of iEntry ticket, so that all the users of our university will be good enough to use this similarity software for their own cause as well as for the cause of the students. And whenever we require any help, we will definitely come to you for help. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your participation. And thank you, my assistant librarian, Mr. Nandakishore Bandekar. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone. And I will be sharing this recording with your administrator. You can request this recording with them, and you can rewatch it. You can download it and keep it saved with you.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and thank you for all the questions. Hope this training was useful for you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.